let's take a look at how to take an image that has a background that is not a solid color and remove that background and then place the image into another one. Up until this point, I've showed you how to use the wand tool to select a solid background and then invert the selection to be able to take an image. But this is obviously not going to work because of this nature photo. If I use the wand tool, it's only going to select parts of the image, and that's certainly not what I want. So previously, we've looked at how to use the lasso tool. And you can draw to make a selection. And we briefly looked at how you can use the magnetic lasso as well. So let's use that today because this is really amazing. Now I'm going to zoom in just a tiny little bit more so I can see the whole image, or the whole creature, that is, and but I still have room to work. So I'm going to click anywhere and I'm just going to slowly drag. I'm not going to have to hold in my cursor, or my mouse rather. And notice how Pixlr is guessing where the image is. Now, this is not going to be perfect. I do want to warn you. It's going to be pretty great, but it's not going to be perfect. Certain parts of the image are not going to be chosen. And especially when you're dealing with hair, fur, grass, as you can see there, it's not going to grab the whole image, but it's going to work pretty well. Just take your time. Oops. And then complete the selection, and then you can copy it and go over to your other image. Now I found this nature scene here. I'm just going to paste that. Okay, and obviously I'm going to want to resize it, so I'm going to switch over to the move tool and that to a nice size there. And it looks pretty good. I mean, the lighting, the shadows, the shading, all that stuff, that's another video for another day. But it worked out pretty well, and you'd really have to zoom in to see the imperfections in that. But the magnetic lasso is definitely going to be helpful. But if you do zoom in, you would notice that there's some kind of jagged edges there, and it's definitely not perfect. So that's one way of doing it. Also, don't forget to rename your layers. So I'll call this cutie, and I'll call this scenery. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to try that again. I'm going to deselect this, but this time I'm going to use just the regular Polygon lasso tool. Okay, you can use just the normal free lasso as well. Either one's fine. And this time I'm just going to make a very crude outline of the image that's not going to get too close yet. I'm going to copy that, go to my other image, paste. By the way, I found these images. These are just stock images on the main page of Pixlr. And for this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit at a time on this new guy. We'll call this, cutie 2. And I'm going to go to my eraser tool. And I'm going to make sure I have a brush that is a soft circle, like you can see there. And I'm just going to start to go through and erase, but not get all the way up to the image. So I'm going to leave the hair there. Move this around using the navigator. So I'm getting kind of close, but not all the way. So your eraser can be a little larger at this point. I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to do the whole thing right now, but just to give you an idea of what my end game is here. Then I'm going to switch over to the wand tool. And when I use the wand tool, I can zoom in. And if I zoom all the way into like the pixel level, really, really far in here, then if I click, Pixlr is going to select almost all of that same color, which is great. So I can just delete that and then deselect. Now notice it's going to leave some remnants there. So that's where I'm going to have to switch back to my eraser to erase those. But that's going to be easy. And then when you zoom out, after you've erased those extra remnants, of course, so that's the tree. That's why that's not erasing. It's going to look pretty good. And then you would just want to repeat that for the rest of the image. And that way you're not going to lose those soft edges with the hair. And again, I know this doesn't look perfect right now. I would, if I had the time, I would do a time lapse and show you the rest. But that's the basic idea. And then again, you can just continue to refine, get rid of these extra edges, zoom back in, switch to the wand tool. You get the idea. So those are different ways you can do this manually. Now, Pixlr, in the past year or so, added a really cool tool that is also available other places on the web, but they have their own here. It's called Remove BG. And all you need to do for this one, you need to have the image actually saved, or you need to be able to drag and drop it to this platform. But if you just click Open Image and you have the image saved to your drive or to your computer's hard drive, you can just click on that and magically it will remove the background for you. Now that looks pretty good. It did, however, leave this extra thing here. I think it thought that was another paw or something, but that's part of the background, you might recall. And it made this stick a little too skinny. So that's pretty awesome. And then you can also use the fine tune here. So if I wanted to get rid of this area, I could just switch over to my lasso and I could select that. And oops, somehow it got messed up there. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I'm going to reset that and try it again. But it does give you the option to fine tune it then if it didn't work the first time. And you can always go back and reset it and give it another shot. But just some different ways for you to remove the background of an image that does not have a solid background. As always, be patient, and you might have to undo sometimes. You might have to reset all the way. And certainly let me know if you have any questions about that.